Alfie is a WOR race winner.
Jensen makes it 5 in a row.
Danny Berejnay wins on debut.
Shinaka returns to winning ways in WOR.
Season 12 sees a new man. It's Shadow. He is your Xbox champion.
And Jensen is the new king of PlayStation.
From the back row of the grid, against all odds, Nicholas Longy wins the title.
Goes past the safety car.
What has gone on here?
Bourbon spins.
Stunning move from the Spaniard.
He's taken out Rambo. Here comes Longy.
We're going 4 wide down to turn 1.
Oh, he's taking him out.
The captain run was complete.
Sonic to the inside.
Shadow wins the Brazil. Absolutely sensational.
Good evening and welcome to WOR Xbox Tier 1, where you'll see the best that Xbox has to offer. Tonight we are heading to Singapore. We have 5 rookies, I say rookies, rookies to Tier 1, and the ever amazing Ryan Jacobs coming to the driving seat of things this week as well, which means joining me in the comms box tonight is the fantastic Mr. FG Steve, who has been masquerading as Ryan a few times this season, and he's with me again tonight. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. To this one, Steve. Are you? I mean,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. You know, it's a very good circuit, Singapore. I am. Ryan Jacob 2.0 is back today, so yeah, I'm here once more. Looking for a good one today. I mean, it's Singapore. It's a brilliant track to drive. It's challenging on this game, and hopefully we shall be in for a good one. And hopefully Dark Killer's return might be good for him as well. One-off race for him this season, and I think he is actually looking for a very good one himself.
he is a challenger, and the esports challenger himself, so he's got capabilities, but has he got the capability of getting close to, well, the elite? I mean, is there anyone that really can? Time will tell. I'm sure Ryan is more than capable of putting up a fight, though, and at Singapore, tight circuits, anything is possible. I'm sure he's going to be looking forward to this one as well as anyone else.
Yeah, he surely is, of course. I mean, as I said, it is a one-off, so he'll surely be hoping to at least finish the race. And yeah, Otis is going to be definitely someone that is going to be hard to challenge again around the circuit like this, but you can't count anyone out in today's race and qualifying, so you never know. Otis could make a mistake for probably one of the first times this season, and yeah, he could definitely, anyone could be in a shout of a very good result here.
Anyone will be, though. I mean, you say a mistake for Otis, and a mistake has happened before, moving over to Inters to Wets at Monza. For those of you, cast your minds back to that one, or if not, go back and re-watch that race, because that was an absolute hell of a race. And then, lastly on this, other than the WR Legacy Division race, which we won't talk about, the last time Singapore was driven at WR, it was back in season 9, so 4 seasons ago, and the victory went to CRG way back then. I think the podium consisted of Antoine and it might have been Viper as well. So, going back, a lot of those drivers aren't around there. Leopard raced then, but he's not racing tonight. He's one of the drivers dropping out for some of these other guys from Tier 2. I mean, they're looking quick in Tier 2, and I'm trying to remember who it was. I'm just going to quickly look over to this screen, which has got everything on it. And Stonks, FRA Stonks, is leading the way in the Tier 2 Championship, and he's looking pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, these Tier 2 boys, of course, they wouldn't be promoted if they're not good enough for this tier. I mean, I know some of the drivers like Rev and Oscu, they are very quick drivers. And yeah, I mean, as you said, Season 9 was the last time that this track was used in the WR calendar. It will certainly be a challenge, because it is sort of a track you don't see on many championship calendars, and it's definitely going to be an exciting one, especially with the walls being so close to each other. And yeah, the Tier 2 boys as well, they'll be looking for a strong result. So we are definitely on for a very good race, I think.
Now, let's have a quick look at the standings before we get out onto track for these ones. Would you believe it? Otis Lawrence is leading the way from Smokey and Wilson, and Cider, all looking like those three are the ones to put up a major challenge towards Otis, but he has got a pretty strong points difference between him and those three chasing. And, looking at the championship as a whole, I mean, this is pretty an incredible stat. Out of 9 races we've had, Otis has won 6 of them and been on the podium a further one more time. So he's just been incredible this season.
Yeah, he's been absolutely superb. I mean, he's definitely one of the quickest drivers on Xbox we've seen in the recent years. I mean, we've got Ron Har up in esports. He's been doing quite well. I think he is going to be probably one of the quickest since either Shadow or Ron Har. But yeah, he's been absolutely amazing. Probably the most consistent season we've seen out of anyone in Tier 1. And probably he's going to have the most wins in the history of Tier 1 of WR. And yeah, he's been absolutely on fire this season. He's been phenomenal. And hopefully he can bring that over to when he does eventually move over to PC, and yeah, hopefully we can keep him for a few more seasons every now and then, do a Dark Killer and drop in for a race, and yeah, we'll see what he can do tonight.
Let's, speaking of Dark Killer, let's go on board with the man himself and see what he can produce as he's going to start. Well, I think he's going to be one of the first to set a lap time. I think actually it could be Choco, who really does like to go out first and set a lap time first before anyone else. I've noticed that from him. But trying to look at other possible races that's similar to Singapore, and the only one that really springs to mind is round 3, where we had a really good race actually. Matthew struggled and fought his way through the field. I think Scyther and Smokey had a great battle for P2, and it could very well have been I think it was Scyther who qualified alongside Otis at the start of the race and actually overtook him. So maybe if anyone could get alongside Otis at the start of this race and really give it to him off of pole, they could have a chance of causing Otis Lawrence a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, they certainly can. I mean, a track like this, it's very tight and twisty, so it's going to be harder to overtake than some of the others we've had so far this season. And if you've got the straight line speed as well, because this main overtaking spot, as Dark Killer's now going down up into turn 7, is all about your straight line speed going into it. And yeah, that's where mainly all the overtakes are going to be, because it is really the real big overtaking opportunity on this circuit. And yeah, if you get ahead of Otis, you can maybe sit ahead of him for, if not the whole race, and that'll definitely be something to look out for with the strategy as well.
Definitely, and that's the other thing. I mean, whether I believe anything that's happened in the chat about rain or whatnot, it will be interesting to see if that does come about, because maybe they're going to be a bit more aggressive when it comes to qualifying. but we might not see their full potential as Akos goes across the line. First to set a lap time, it was Akos, not his teammate Choco, that was out on track. So my apologies on that one. And yeah, Finbob 136.7. So Akos slightly faster at this moment in time. PSR Nick goes quick. And then Otis Lawrence, a 135.8. Just kind of setting the lap time. And I've been on board with Ryan the whole lap. And he goes into the pits. What about stealing the limelight from other people? That is pretty impressive there from Dark Killer there. But let's go on board at Oscu, sorry. He's new into this, well, WR Tier 1 tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good friends with Oscar. He's a very, very quick driver. I mean, he's come a long way because last season he was racing in Tier 4. So to a whole season later being up into Tier 1, with a few races left in the season, it's quite a big achievement for him. So as he now heads through the final corner, where does Oscar put himself? P8, so a very respectable lap time there, 36.6. And yeah, puts himself in the sort of midfield order and sort of where he should be expecting to be and not at the very front at the moment.
See what Axe F1 can do. He was very quick but couldn't do much in Austria. It just seemed to fall away from him. But he is generally a quick driver. And there he is, agonisingly close to pipping Otis for pole at the moment. And yeah, very, very good lap time there for the Williams driver. And maybe we can see him go in and do something that we haven't seen very often. And that is beating Otis Lawrence.
Yeah, I mean, all these drivers that are higher up the order are going to have a good shout at that today. I mean, Axe at the moment is in the best position for that. If he gets Otis off the line, we don't know what will happen next, but he will have a strong chance of keeping Otis behind for as long as he possibly can. So, yeah, Otis, I mean, he's not shot off straight away at the start of this session so far, with Axe being very close to the back of him, and Smokey as well, just over a tenth separating that top three there. And so, yeah, Otis not really setting too fast of a pace that others can't catch up to like he has sometimes this season. And
Oh, I don't know if I've lost Steve or not. It looks like he has just disappeared out of the lobby, which is not ideal. But let's have a look. Let's see. Let's see if Dark Killer will set a lap time for me this time, and we will wait and see for what will happen. For him, it's obviously his return to Tier 1 WR. It's going to be an interesting one for him. M-Race obviously has yet to set a lap time. Piccolo in P18. Shazoo, he's new into it this season as well. Another returnee. Rev Caterpillar. Good to see Rev in here instead of the chat. That's an interesting one. Dark Killer using very much the esports line as he goes into turn 1 here. And let's see if Steve is back.
yes,
sounds like he is,
back.
which is a good thing. But yeah, we unfortunately lost you halfway through. However, Dark Killer is on a lap again. I'm determined to see him do something this time around.
Yeah, hopefully he will. I'm just going to quickly join back the session. I think I just got disconnected from my Wi-Fi there, so that's not very good, but should be joining back now. Yeah, hopefully Dark Killer can actually do something this time on his lap other than he did earlier on where he had to abort. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be a guy to look out for throughout this whole qualifying session. Of course, probably a bit more used to PC physics, and hopefully he's getting on well at the moment, but I am not on board with him. I'll join him back now, and I shall be able to resume the action.
Yeah, so we'll stay on board with with Dark Killer. Rev Caterpillar will be... I'll go on board with Rev Caterpillar as soon as he's on a lap as well. Choco and M-Race are on a lap, and Dark Killer has invalidated his one, so he's not going to go anyone else. Otis Lawrence is on a lap, I believe, as well, so we'll wait and see what he does. VSR Finn goes P9 with his second lap. That was a little bit further ago. I think Finn Bob might be completing a lap. No, he's just about to start a lap, sorry. But we'll wait for Choco to come through the line. M-Racer could very well be ahead of him, or it could be Smokey. The two Red Bulls are quite close together on track. So it'll be Smokey to start his lap time, I believe. But here comes Choco across the line for the Haas driver. It's a respectable time of 1:36.2, which he'll be pretty pleased with. But where is Otis Lawrence on track? He's just about to start a lap. Is M-Racer's invalidated his lap. Piccolo then, as he's coming into this final sector, he's going to be on a lap. So we'll wait to see how he handles his lap. I can't remember if you were in the lobby when I said before, but Piccolo is a newcomer to Tier 1 this week as well. It'll be interesting to see what he can do after some impressive performances in the Legacy division.
Yeah, I wasn't in the chat when you said that, but Piccolo, he's been doing very well in the Legacy division with some good drives for himself and for his team Shizou in that division. I mean, he is a very quick driver. I mean, as I said, all these drivers wouldn't be in this tier if they were slow. But yeah, Piccolo is definitely out one to watch from the Tier 2 boys. He is definitely sort of more accustomed to these sort of drivers and racing against them due to the Legacy division. So he's definitely going to be a guy to look out for, and he should be at the top, if not middle of the midfield today.
Now I'm going to bow to pressure from the chat and go on board with Rev Caterpillar as he runs through Sector 1. Smokey, fastest of all, but Otis Lawrence immediately pips him back. It'll be interesting to see what Axe F1 can do. But Rev Caterpillar is up on his lap time, so he's just missed the apex there at turn 9. I'm sure he's not going to be too frustrated with that, though, as he comes through the old Singapore sling now, as he'll try and push a good lap time. Dark Killer yet to set a lap time. The man I'm meant to be fanboying over. It's just not happening at the moment. And he's coming down the back straight. Let's see how he can handle this. Into turn 14 he goes. He is half a second up, so this is going to be an interesting one. I don't know if I've just lost Steve again.
No, I'm still here. I'm still alive. I should still be here, so yeah, I mean, I'm watching Rev Caterpillar come through the final sector here. He's doing it quite well under the grandstand, so now, of course, this bit will be changed for next year, actually, so should be all good now. Through the final corner, it's a good place to invalidate, but he manages to keep it clean so far, and yes, he has. Comes across the line, a 37.249, so Rev Caterpillar not really setting the best of laps so far, and not really what he wanted to see from the Alfa Romeo, and maybe disappointing his fans a bit.
Yeah, I don't think he could ever disappoint his fans, though, to be perfectly honest. Finn is apparently 2 seconds up, not 2 seconds up, half a second up on the second sector. Getting the two words mixed up there, that's not exactly what you want to do. But let's see what he can handle as he comes through this nice and tight part of 18 to 21, which can really cause problems for some drivers for invalidating, and also the last two bits as well. VSR Finn has shown he can be quick, but can he be quick enough to do anything about the guys at the top? Across the line he comes. It's P9 with a 35.9. It's a very, very strong lap, but just not strong enough to do anything just yet.
Nah, just not strong enough so far. But Finn, I mean, he's had a bit of poor luck in league racing recently, actually. I think he's actually put up about it on his Twitter, about the luck he's been recently having. But I mean, a 35.9, it's a good lap so far. He's up in the top 10. I mean, look how close it is from 5th place to about Finn. It's very, very close. I mean, a 10th separating, near enough a 10th separating, sorry, of those 4 drivers. As actually Nick gets disqualified for blocking the pit lane. Well, that's what it says on my screen. I don't know if it does on yours. And he's blocked Williams going in the pit lane as well.
Interesting. Very interesting. Dark Killer goes across the line. It's P9. Scyther disqualified from the session as well. What are we seeing here? This is mental. Not fully understanding what's happened, but Scyther, a massive driver to be starting at the back of the grid. with the likes of Otis, Smokey and Wilson currently heading the top of it.
Yeah, I mean that is a really weird error. I think when you get to that part of the circuit, you get beached on the curb, so he actually couldn't do anything there to get out of the way and got disqualified because of it. So he's a big driver at the back of the field there. He was definitely within the shout for pole position today, and it's all just gone up in smoke because of either a beached car or just couldn't find reverse quick enough.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the chat. So it looks like Nick's disqualified car has blocked Sider. That's caused him to get disqualified. Wow, talk about interesting. Wow,
Tactics
okay.
from Nick there to make sure someone else gets disqualified with him.
Yeah. And choose one of the... I suppose he chose the wrong driver to get disqualified. If he wanted a last to first challenge, Otis nearly did that at Silverstone. I think he came P5 in the end. But interesting. Let's see who's could very well be starting a lap time. That looks like it's a Ferrari of Finn Bob, who has yet to set a... I don't want to say a decent lap time because he's still within still within a shot of getting in top 10. But he is now warming those red wall tyres up as much as he can before he decides to, absolutely pelt it down into turn 22 and 23 to start possibly his last final lap.
Yeah, it's Finn Bob in the Ferrari. I think he had a pretty good race last time out in Spain 2 weeks ago, if my memory does serve me correct, as he now heads through turn 3 and now all the way up into turn number 5. Is it nicely done? Yes, it is actually a very decent corner there for the Ferrari. So going up into turn 7, DRS wide open. How much is he up by in the first sector? He's actually down by 7 thousandths of a second, so not really what he needs so far. So now through the tight and twisty section of 8 and 9, which then leads on a short straight down to turn 10, taking a bit too much curb, I think, there. Through turn 9 and now into 10. Nicely done. Run the car wide and cut it back to the inside. And he's actually done that very nicely through that complex of 10, 11 and 12. And now through 13, the hairpin, where Massa did that absolutely amazing overtake on Bruno Senna, I think it was, in 2012. And Finn Bob's actually aborted the lap going down the next straight.
That's interesting. I hope everything's okay. But that's a very interesting strategy on his side. Let's go on board with M Racer, as I'm sure he's just about to... No, he's just about to start a lap time. He better not be finishing a lap time with that sort of lap. Let's go a bit further down the field. Who could be... Akos, maybe? Yeah, let's go on board with Akos. He's halfway through a lap, I think. And it'll be an interesting one to see how he can handle it. VSR Akos currently P12 of a 36.3 with 15 minutes left of qualifying. He's got a bit of pressure on him, and let's see what he can do. His teammate currently out of the session because he looked at his phone and got damaged, and is just a few tenths of a second above him.
Yeah, so Akos, I mean, look how close it is between Akos, Plaki, Stonks and Piccolo, as that was Plaki actually moving up into P9 there. So Akos through the final sector, through the final complex of corners, and actually Stonks and Piccolo set the exact same lap time on that lap, and Stonks goes up into P4 with a 35.8. What can Akos do? He was on a very good lap time in the middle sector. It's only good enough for P10, a 36.0, but look how close the times are so far in this session. Gaining a 10th could gain you so many places, and Otis Lawrence going from a 35.4 to a 35 dead. What a lap.
Just showing what he is all about, Otis Lawrence, and that is ridiculous. Smokey, I think, is still on a lap time. He's just about to finish, as possibly as Wilson and M Racer. But I'm going to stay on board with VSR Finn and to see what he can do. The times will come in thick and fast. Smokey 2 tenths away from Otis. Wilson, he's just he's just behind Finn. So it might be that M Racer goes P3 and Finn goes P7 currently. Wilson across the line retakes P3 away from M-Racer, and there could be a final lap from Rev Caterpillar, who has actually invalidated, and Finn Bob is coming round the track one more time.
Wow, what a session that was. And Rev Caterpillar, you qualified last of the runners that are still in the session. I mean, not a real big way to assert yourself in Tier 1 so far, but there's still the race. Some drivers are better at the race on this game, so you still got that to do. But Otis Lawrence, what a lap. 2 tenths quicker than Smokey, and nearly into the 34s. So that could have been a real possibility today, it seems, of a 1 minute 34.9. So yeah, brilliant lap from Otis, and Smokey, could he be able to jump him into turn 1? We'll find out in a minute.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting to see the pace difference from Otis to everyone else. He is ridiculous at the moment. As well, as we know, it is Otis Lawrence on par with Smokey in P2. In third is Wilson with M-Racer, directly behind his teammate in fourth. Stonks in fifth. That's a qualifying and a half for him. Axe in P6. Seventh is Finn. Connor in eighth. Ninth to Darkkiller and Akos rounding out the top 10. With Venom, Placky, Oscu, Choco, Piccolo, Bobbits, Finn Bob, Rev, and then Cider and Nick disqualified there. Now, I'm trying to think of the right words to describe now what to expect from this one, because at the moment it doesn't really look like anyone can challenge Otis right now.
No, it doesn't seem so, but of course it's qualifying in the race. They're two completely different aspects, but we know that Otis is good in both, so it's going to be a challenge for some of these drivers to really attack him. But if you get him into turn 1, if Otis gets a poor reaction to the lights and Smokey gets past him, it's still all to play for in this race, and anything can happen, as we know in racing. And we can really see some really good drives maybe from some of these drivers. And actually, Darkkiller P9 on these returns to Xbox, not too bad. Pretty decent lap time from him that he pulled off. And yeah, but Otis is seeming a bit hard to challenge him so far. But Smokey, Wilson, M-Racer, they're still all within a really good shot here to make up the positions on Otis. And we don't know, there could be a collision between one of those 4 drivers.
Yeah, it's I don't know. The honest answer is right now, I've run out of words to describe how good Otis is. Now, from what I'm seeing in the chat, there is, or in the Discord chat, is it's going to start dry, middle wet, and end dry. For a Singapore Grand Prix, that is A, tasty, and B, absolute carnage waiting to happen.
Yep, pretty much. You've just described that perfectly. I mean, dry, wet, dry. It's going to be all about strategy here. So, I mean, we saw what happened to Otis in Italy, I think 3 weeks ago now. And, I mean, Smokey did actually capitalise on that, I think. It was either Smokey or Cypher. I can't remember who.
Cyber capitalised and pitted and went and won the race.
Yeah, so it's going to be all about strategy at the moment. So if you do it either a lap or two too late, it could really affect the race, and you would definitely be in a shout of losing a few places. And around the track like this, it's going to be hard to make up because it's a straight circuit, hard to overtake, and especially if it's in the wet, you'll have no DRS assistance for you, and you're sort of just going to be stuck in whatever position you come out.
Now let's take one last look at the standings before the race itself gets underway. There we have it. Otis Lawrence on top of the world with 203 points. That is some hell of a points gap over VSR. Smokey, who's on 138. Wilson on 121 and Cider on 116. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's super close. for that second place in the championship. It's going to be down to the wire to the end of the season, I think. And yeah, hopefully the race will begin any time now. I don't know what time we actually are set to begin. But, I mean, the championship, if you remove Otis from the championship, it's an extremely close battle if it was between those drivers for the championship win. And, yeah, it's going to be all down to the wire, all the way down to the final race, in which I think is Brazil this season. So it'll be a very good season for these drivers to maybe get a good position and build their confidence for next.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember, because obviously the Tier 1 side of things have had a few things mixed around, and Abu Dhabi's moved, and I think it could very well be Saudi Arabia that is the last race of the season, which I'm not complaining about because I really do love that track. So time will tell on that one, but we are waiting for everyone to get themselves sorted and ready. I think we're just waiting on a few people. So I'll ask you early, who do you think is going to win this Singapore Grand Prix?
Oh, with the weather factors, it's going to be a difficult one. But you know what? I'm going to go bold with my top three. I'm not going to go for the conventional top three. Spice it up a tiny bit. I'm going to go for a Axe F1 win today with a. I'm going to go for FRA Placky in third, and I'm going to go Oscar in P3. You never know what will happen today, and we're about to get underway. I mean, that top three, very bold from me, so spice it up. Got to spice things up, so yeah, I'll hand over to you for the race start today, and yeah, hopefully it'll be a good one.
I'm looking forward to this as well. We are, 14 seconds away, so let's head back to that one. And my top three, I'm going to go with a victory for Ryan Jacobs, a second place for Finn, and a third place for Rev Caterpillar, just to be really, really out of the box. However, forget about that. We're waiting on the lights. Here they are, 4, 5. The WOR Singapore Grand Prix is go, and it looks like a pretty decent start there in the foreground for Otis Lawrence. Smokey trying to get back at him, but in the background, M-Racer is being attacked by Stonks, but nothing happening in the end. There's contact between the Ferrari and the Alfa Romeo in the background. Dark Killer's up in position, but Axe F1 is really struggling at the moment. He's trying to get back at him. I think there's a major drop there for Choco, who's down 6 places maybe. Or is it Finn? Sorry, Finn down 10 places. That's a majorly poor start from him, unfortunately. And there's Akos just trying to get on the attack of Oscu ahead, who's had a really good start, Oscu.
Yeah, he's had a superb start as they're battling down the inside of turn 7. As now it'll go to the inside for Akos. Surely Oscu will back out. There's a bit of contact further back between Venom, and I think that was actually Choco in a little bit of a scrap there, and Venom being tagged and spun round. Akos gets that place of P8 from Oscar, and yeah, I think there was contact between Finn and Choco, and it sent them both very far down the order, and that's something both drivers did not want in this Grand Prix, as that's actually Placky down the inside of Dark Killer. He's dropping down a few places off the start, so Dark Killer now falling down the order, maybe just trying to readjust himself to the Xbox platform. And now Finn round the outside of Dark Killer as well, so he's dropping places more and more in every corner. He seems to lose a place so far.
He's dropping like a stone, unfortunately. Cyther, though, is massively gained a few positions, up 8 places, driving with possibly angry head because of the disqualification he's received. Otis desperately trying to pull away, but these guys pulling as far up as they can. I wonder if no one's decided to go for the medium compound tyre, considering we've got a wet middle of the race. This is going to be interesting. And Cyther, I mean, he's driving angry and he's driving well, but Dark Killer going into the pits. I wonder if that's a wing change for him as well, or if he's just trying something a little bit different. Or are we even, we've had this in the game before where it's rained, but it's not raining enough to affect the tyres.
Yeah, that could certainly be what it is. It wasn't actually a wing change there for the AlphaTauri of Dark Killer. It was just simply come into the box, go into the mediums, probably see how long they can go and try his best to use them for as long as possible. And as you say, yeah, maybe the wet period isn't actually enough to go onto the intermediates because of the actual rain intensity. So that could be a huge factor in this race if it actually doesn't go to intermediates and everyone could just stay on the dries. And Otis already gaining that 1 second gap up to 1.3 seconds now over WR Smokey. And so yeah, Otis seeming to pull away quite quickly and maybe having a comfortable race, but you never know with the rain on the way.
Yeah, we're not sure on the the setups these guys are using either. They could be going a little bit more for a wetter setup, but there goes Otis, 140.3 as the fastest lap of the race so far. Sider then trying to line up Choco for a move. Oscu then maybe being a little bit of a cork in the bottle, but Connor and Axe in trouble of losing. FRA Stonks ahead. Stonks is absolutely doing incredible at the moment and battling with possibly three of the best drivers away from Otis Lawrence in this Xbox Tier 1.
Yeah, Stonks having a beautiful race so far. Maybe just really loving the circuit. I mean, it is a track where it does really suit some of the more technical drivers, and it does seem that he's doing quite well so far. And he definitely is within a shout for a podium today if he keeps up a performance like this. And I mean, he's on similar ERS levels to the cars in front of him, so it's not like he's using everything he possibly can to just stick with the guys in front. He's using the exact same. As Dark Killer comes into the pits for one more time, I don't know what he's doing here, and maybe just testing out the tyres for maybe a safety car to come out. As I say that, Choco is in the wall somewhere, I can't see where. Actually, I think it's going up into the hairpin after the Anderson Bridge, and he's gone straight on and has gone into the wall. So that's Choco out of the session. And unfortunately for Dark Killer, doesn't bring out a safety car.
No, that's massively unfortunate to Choco. And after all that, I thought Finn was going to get a place up on Placky, but it just didn't happen. I think the yellow flags really cost him there because he was up the inside. Placky made a mistake at the exit of the hairpin of 13, and it just didn't work. And massively unfortunate for Finn, who then had to give the position up. But Scyther lost out to Oscu in all that as well. And I'm just trying to go on board with Akos. And I wonder if I did see a bit of wing fly, and it must have been Choco's because there is full wing still available on Akos's car. Connor dropping away from Stonks at the moment, and Scyther is back up into Oscu. So I think Choco was separating Scyther and Oscu. So that could be why the gap was larger between those two drivers. But yeah, massively unfortunate for Choco.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very talented driver as Choco, and a really huge loss for him today. I mean, I don't know what would have caused that. Maybe a wheel disconnection, or simply just, I don't know. It's something strange there because he's just gone straight on and up into the wall. So more than likely will be a wheel disconnection, unfortunately for him. And that's put him out of the Grand Prix, and Cypher's actually gaining a lot on Oscu at the moment, and we could see a scrap between these two. So Oscu at the moment up in P9, he's doing himself well so far on his debut race in Tier 1 on lap 4. So Oscu up into the points so far, and maybe could be in a shout for some points on his debut.
Yeah, it'll be good to see a debut to getting points. It's always nice. FRA Stonks, I think, has raced in Tier 1 before. I don't think he had this such of a solid race, though. I'm sure Stonks raced before. I could be completely lying out of all that as well, mind you. But he's having a phenomenal race at the moment, and that's exactly what he wants to continue doing. Scyther unable to catch Tubar, and that's Finn Bob out of this race. He's lost it in the third sector at the exit of 21, and it's caused a safety car. It's going to allow Dark Killer to get back into the swing of things, amazingly, and effectively could end up being net P1.
Yeah, I mean, all it takes is for drivers to sort of have to make a few more pit stops than him, and he's already done that. So yeah, he's definitely could be net P1 at the end of this thing, but you never know. I don't think any drivers will be boxing in this race so far, because I mean, actually, one thing it does do though is it brings the rain a tiny bit closer to us because of the safety car. They'll go slower. The rain can come in at its normal speed, but it'll be earlier on in the race, and that could throw everyone's strategy up into the air. And yeah, so the strategic game is still alive, and Otis's lead comes to nothing. Dark Killer catches up to the back of the pack, and everyone will be super close to each other once more, and we could be in for a really good safety car restart and a really good race.
I was just making sure that Dark Killer didn't go into the back of the safety car, because that would have been very, very... I'm sure we've seen that happen in WR before in PC tier. But here comes Otis Lawrence then across the start-finish line to finally catch up with the safety car, who is stopped quite happily there at pretty much on turn 4. Let's see if it actually starts moving again anytime soon. There it is. It started going, and Otis Lawrence will now follow the safety car for possibly 2, maybe 3 laps, while these guys, well, basically while Dark Killer gets to the back end of this this snake of cars.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's gaps are now reduced to nothing. Dark Killer gets the game back up. But yeah, so this throws it up in the air a bit. When will the rain arrive? What tyres will they go on to? And also, how quick will the hards be in those wet conditions? And yeah, I mean, it's going to be throw everything up so far. And I mean, we were sort of expecting a few safety cars in this Grand Prix due to the nature of the circuit. And we've got one 5 laps in, so if this keeps up the trend, which I hope it doesn't, and see some pretty good, decent racing, we are definitely in for an eventful Grand Prix.
Yeah, time will tell to see how this one all pans out. Otis Lawrence obviously leading the way at lap 6 of 31. We've lost 2 drivers. Jocko, just a few laps before Thin Bob, who brought out this safety car. Dark Killer is slowly catching back up to this one. He's got a little bit of a... He's got to go fast to catch up back to this one. So let's hope he doesn't get a penalty or anything.
No, he shouldn't do, but yeah, he does have to drive quite quickly as everyone's caught up to the back of the safety car. So technically, Dark Killer doesn't... it's actually maybe putting a bit more stress on the tyres than anyone else so far. But yeah, he's driving at normal speed compared to everyone else, so he should be able to catch up quite quickly, because it is quite a long lap under the safety car, and with the amount of corners he can definitely gain quite a lot. And yeah, definitely should catch up to the back, and he could be in a chance of a recovery drive here. And the likes of Rev Caterpillar, he's still down in 17th, and that's actually PSR Nick coming into the pit lane, so he might be doing something different to everyone else.
An interesting strat from PSR Nick. Maybe he's seen... Well, maybe he knows the Rev report, and he's going to try something a little bit different. He is going on to a set of mediums. Dark Killer going, still going round the track into turn 19 and 20. He comes. This is going to be a little bit of an odd one for him, as he's now heading through. I think he's going to come out behind PSR Nick. But the interesting thing for Dark Killer, everyone else's tyres are going to be cold, while his might be that little bit warmer because he's been pushing for a couple of laps.
Yeah, it could lead to him making some really nice moves on some of these drivers due to the heat in these tyres that he has generated already. But it could actually lead to some of the drivers being a bit more mistake prone and making a few more mistakes, and some drivers could be really capitalising on that. So we could see a real shuffle through the order between all these drivers due to the heat of the tyres. It's all about who puts the most heat into them and how quickly can they do so. So yeah, it's going to be all about this safety car restart. It's all about how well they will do, and also PSR Nick on the mediums can definitely maybe shoot himself up a few places.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. He's gonna be the one to watch because he's the one on those nice medium compound tyres. They'll be a lot nicer than the other guys' tyres, and they'll probably go quite far into the race as well. We're not sure when this rain is going to attend this Grand Prix. Whether it will do is also another matter, but the safety car is in this lap. Let's go on board with the leader cars then. Otis Orange from Smokey, from Wilson to M-Racer to Stonks. Stonks has managed to pull that gap to Connor once. Can he do it again? We will wait and see. And Smokey has another chance to really attack Otis into turn one. Will he? We will wait and see. And obviously Otis as well. It'll be interesting to see when he goes, because he does have a mixture of going early and going late.
Yeah, it certainly will be. As you see, look how close Smokey's getting into the back of him, making sure he doesn't get away. There's nearly contact between the two. I actually think there might be between the pair, but it does seem like Otis is leaving it late. I say that, and he's gone already. He's got a huge drift though on the entry of the final corner there. But luckily for him, Smokey cannot capitalise.
And that's Rev Caterpillar into the wall, I think. And that is not ideal for him. And we saw this before. I think it was Wilson on Friday's Legacy Division event. And it cost him massively because he wasn't right into the battle. You know, he was on the outside of Otis. And Otis just took massive advantage of that. And went away. But Smokey was a little bit wiser to Otis's advances through the final corner and was able to stick with him for a little bit, but it's a little bit out of him now. Oscu has made a mistake. Piccolo's made a mistake. Rev Caterpillar there. Maybe they've all come together. Looking at everything that's going on in the background, what has happened is PSR Nick has no front wing.
Yeah, I think he might have accidentally collected Rev into the wall there on the exit of the final corner. And then I think Piccolo and Oscu made a bit of a collision. That's Bobbitt's going round behind Dark Killer, sorry. And both McLarens not really having the best of times at the moment, as you can see. Both down in 17th and 18th, one missing a front wing and the other just spinning round purely just to block in the rears. So, yeah, not really the greatest of starts for some of the drivers at the moment, as Dark Killer now battling with Shizou Venom. And we could maybe see him attacking more drivers and seeing how many places he can gain further up the field.
Yeah, I mean, Otis Orange has already broken that second from the rest of the grid up front. But this is really strong stuff from Dark Killer. He is going massively strong right now, right behind Venom. He's already claimed, 5 positions, even though they've possibly helped him with that. He's looking like he's going to try and make a move. It looks like Placky's made a mistake on the exit of the last corner, but nothing doing on this occasion for Venom or Dark Killer as they round the first sector. But Dark Killer's got his nose up the inside of the exit of turn 3, and is he going to have anything on the exit into 4? He thinks better of it, I think, and stays behind for the time being.
Yeah, he does seem to be very racy at the moment, as he knows it is. He's probably one and only time this season to race with the Xbox drivers, probably being a bit more racy than usual, sort of nothing to lose at the moment for him. So yeah, just mainly just trying to drive as best as possible, driving his heart out, and nearly making that move on Venom there. But as Venom actually does now maybe just switch his attention onto Blackie ahead, as they say, sometimes attack is the best form of defense. So maybe Venom using Blackie up in front to maybe help defend from Dark Killer behind. And yeah, Venom just staying ahead of Dark Killer at the moment.
Tell you what, this middle sector, Dark Killer looks incredibly quick, but he's just not able to make a move on Venom in any shape, way or form right now. Smokey's caught up a little bit more to Otis Lawrence right now, but his teammate M-Racer is having an absolute nightmare. He's 1.9 seconds behind Smokey and has Stonks for company just behind. Sider trying to size up a move on Akos, but it's still not happening just yet.
No, it's just not at the moment, as yeah, all these drivers are getting really close to each other, which at the moment, without DRS, just can't find a way through. But M-Race's pace drop has been huge at the moment. He was right out the back of Wilson before the safety car come out, and he just dropped off massively to Wilson up in front. Maybe a mistake occurring some point during the lap that we didn't see, and or just simply just got no pace at the moment. and can't do anything about it. So obviously under threat from Stonks here, who is getting close to him up into turn 7. Doesn't go for the move though, plays it safe, and just sits back into P5 at the moment, but he's looking for it down the inside into turn 8. Again, just can't do anything at the moment.
That was so close to ending badly for Stonks then, but he managed to hold out. Wilson and Smokey might start think about working together to catch back up with Otis Lawrence just ahead. Stonks then looking very racy, and it's great to see a tier 2 driver. He's top of the tier 2 championship, and he's doing absolute incredible job right now. Rev Caterpillar back up into 14th, so he's battling away there. PSR Nick back into the pits. He's not having the best of it. Dark Killer hasn't been able to make a move just yet, and Stonks wasn't able to make a move into turn 14 on M Racer. And I do have this slight feeling that Stonks might be just that little bit quicker at this moment in time.
Yeah, it does seem so, as M Racer is losing a lot of time to Wilson up in front, and that's a yellow flag for Shazoo Venom and maybe Dark Killer as well. Maybe a bit of contact being made between the two there. So Dark Killer is having such a brilliant race so far, making a little bit of contact there with Venom. Both drivers were looking to get past Blackie, and it's sort of not gone to plan, and they've both fallen down the order. But M Racer definitely losing pace to the top 3, and Stonks definitely all over the back of him at the moment as they now head up through turn 5. So maybe this could be where Stonks uses the DRS to get past the Red Bull. He's used a lot more ERS as well, so that could hinder him later on, as he's now heading up into turn 7. Can't get anything done again, but he's definitely looking a lot more pacey than the Red Bull up in front of him.
Blackie and Finn coming very close together as they round 7 and then 8, and nothing doing for Finn right now, but he is trying to get through his teammate Rev Caterpillar up into P12. That's looking a solid result for him. Sider then unable to get past Akos in his advance through the field, has stopped at P9. PSR Nick then onto a set of softs and just ahead of the leaders, but M-Race are really struggling. But just, I think his ERS is helping him keep up just ahead of Stonks right now.
Yeah, I think it definitely is. I mean, Stonks just can't gain enough at the moment down the straights, but he's already below 10%, which is not really what he wants at the moment to really get past the Red Bull. So maybe a few laps of just sticking behind M Racer, saving up that ERS, and going for one almighty attack going down into turn 7 could be definitely what he needs at the moment. But so far, just not quick enough to get past the Red Bull, and yeah, it's seeming to just have to stick behind him for his. He could be under threat from Connor if this carries on at the moment due to M Racer's lack of pace. It now goes up to 4 seconds behind the top 3.
Yeah, this is nuts, but it could work in M Racer's favour, especially if the rain comes. At this rate, he's not going to lose out from a double stack on the pit stop unless Smokey has a damaged front wing. Stonks gets close to the back end at the end of turn 7. It's just not close enough yet again for the Aston Martin driver. And there's a little bit of contact between the two of them as they head into 8. And Stonks just clips the back end of the Red Bull. And that's brought PSR Connor into play.
Yeah, it really has. Good race and respect there from Stonks as well, not to just fly straight past. He just let M Racer sort of regain the control of the car before he put his foot back down. I mean, he didn't have anywhere to go, and he goes down the inside into the hairpin. There's a bit of contact between the two. There's a very late lunge by Stonks. But now that's allowed Connor to get a very good run on him now and go round the outside into turn 14. Will he be able to pull it off? It's gone for the switchback now as Connor. So the Aston Martin versus the Ferrari, and the Aston Martin just about wins out, and Stonks making those moves, maybe being a bit too eager, and can make him have a bit of a threat from Connor behind, and some of the other drivers like Axe and Akos to really pounce on the opportunities that he might give them.
Yeah, a little bit of naivety maybe from Stonks as he's now lost a bit more time to M Racer, which is probably going to help Connor more than help Stonks out, really. Stonks now catching back up to the back end of M Racer, but just not having the fun of it right now as he's picked up a 3-second time penalty and that's going to cost him massively the first penalty, I think, since Finn Bob's, but he's retired, so it won't show on that. So Stonks then in a little bit of trouble, especially because everyone behind him is probably up to P9, sorry, of Cider. As we're just seeing maybe Connor go around the outside of 7, it's not going to happen. But the attacks that Connor are throwing at Stonks is going to cost Stonks massively.
Yeah, it certainly is. He's going to lose so much time to M-Racer ahead, but also the ERS front, he's just not looking good at the moment. He's not been able to save it, so that's certainly not what he wants at the moment, to be under threat from a car behind who has so much more ERS, about 40% more than the Aston Martin, and yeah, he's certainly going to be under threat here a lot over these next few laps from Connor, and I feel like it's going to be a matter of time before Connor gets through or Stonks gets past M-Racer, which at the moment is seeming quite unlikely.
Yeah, well, looking at the gap, M-Racer is now 6.3 seconds behind the top 3, and that is huge. Pearson Nick sets the fastest lap over the race again, as he's on those fresh softs and right in the back of the grid. He's just possibly getting some time trial times in at the moment, but there is a possibility of another safety car. Not Silverstone, Singapore has a tendency to have safety cars, and at the moment we've had one, and it's caused the grid to come back together. Dark Killer has got back past Rev Caterpillar, and now he's all over the back of Finn, and Finn has dropped ground to Placky ahead. Sider still unable to get past Akos. It's a little bit of stalemate here at this moment in time.
Yeah, it's just a massive DRS train from M-Race all the way down to Placky at the moment. But yeah, as you were saying, safety cars are very common around here. They can come out any lap, you never know when, as Dark Killer actually gets past VSR Finn and actually forces him a bit wide there, but I don't think Finn will be too angry about that. Dark Killer just went down the inside, got past him, and yeah, Dark Killer up into P11 for his one-off return. He's having a brilliant race so far after having to readjust to sort of how the Xbox physics works, and yeah, he's actually driving a very nice race and pulling off some really good overtakes.
Yeah, we didn't obviously see the issue he had with Venoms, but and what happened there, but he's bringing himself back into the swing of things after a terrible first lap where he dropped massively, went onto the set of mediums, then back onto the hards. It's a very interesting strategy from the AlphaTauri driver, but he's coming through it at the moment. It'll be interesting to see how it pans out. Stonks unable to do anything to M-Racer, who's now 7.3 seconds. It's a second a lap he's losing to the guys ahead, and that is huge when it comes down to the end of the story, because he's, you know, even if he is quicker in the wets, he's so far behind.
Yeah, he's super far behind. I'm wondering if he does actually have a bit of wing damage from an earlier on incident that we don't know about, as VSR Finn comes into the pit lane on lap 14. He would be on, as we are now on to lap 15. But yeah, I think M-Racer might have a bit of front wing damage. I don't know, but I don't know if Stonks does either. It looks like I think I saw him clouting the wall in the exit of the chicane, and here comes the rain, and here comes Connor around the outside. Will he perform the move? He's gone a bit wide, he's been forced off by Stonks there, but surely down the inside, this is his corner, he's moved, and he's got the job done, but Stonks is fighting back into turn 9, but Connor does win out round the outside there. The Ferrari finally getting past the Aston Martin, and the rain has come as soon as that overtake was brewing.
Now that's an interesting one, because Finn's pitted early onto a set of mediums. Is it going to be the wet rain where it involves intermediates, or is it going to be nothing and it doesn't cost, well, it just doesn't have anything doing at all, and it just stays dry tyres? But around the outside of Akos, Sider tries to go, he's sticking his nose in it, he's coming into turn 15 and 16. Has he got the position? He tries to switch back on the Haas. It's just not going to be enough. The Haas is holding station and putting his car at the right place at the right time at the moment, and this is going to frustrate Sider because he knows he's quicker.
Yeah, it certainly is. PSR Nick boxes for the intermediate, so he's a lap down now, but he's gone for the intermediate tyres to see how they feel, so he can be used as a bit of data for some of the drivers on the dries. And yeah, M-Race has actually lost 2 seconds that lap, I think, from what it was last lap. And he's falling down the order. But Cypher trying to get past Akos, and this train is really starting to heat up now once they've seen the rain come down. And they seem to be battling like crazy at the moment as Axe F1 all over the back of FRA Stonks. Will he be able to make the move? No, he just doesn't use any ERS at the moment. Just sitting behind the Aston Martin with nearly 80% ERS left. So he's definitely in a very good position going on later in this race as PSR Nick does pick up a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, he's not loving life at the moment. Poor PSR Nick. He's a lap down on an intermediate, possibly a little bit early because it's raining, but I wouldn't say it's flooding Singapore right now. Axe trying to get to the back end of Stonks. He's just lost a little bit of composure. But look at Connor all over the back of M-Racer. He knows he's going to be quicker. Connor has had a fantastic couple of weeks in WR and a few other events that he's taken place in, and that the PSGL WR event, he was absolutely incredible, and he's trying to reignite the fire inside him that he that took him up there into P2 for that event. But I wouldn't say it's raining enough for people to worry about pitting right now.
No, it's not at the moment. It does seem to be coming down quite quickly if you see the look on the cars, but the game's just not really rendering it as wet at the moment. So maybe at the moment no one really thinking about the wet tyres. Your main indicator is when you start seeing the raindrops fall onto the circuit. That is when you really start to think about the intermediates for the race. And yeah, it just seems that so far M-Racer dropping down a bit. Finn might have boxed a bit too early there. I saw that Nick spun coming out of turn 13. And Connor all over the back of M-Racer, looking to keep up his good form that he's had. And maybe, even though it's 10 seconds to the closest car in front, maybe if there's another safety car, still not out of podium contention just yet.
Yeah, there's F1 usually anything can happen, and with WOR generally everything can happen. And at the moment, Connor trying to get through M-Racer, and a podium is on for any of these guys. I think both of our pre-race predictions are way out the window right now. I don't think either of us have got close to names being on that one right now. But Akos trying to get past Axe, and Axe trying to get past Stonks, and it's a little bit of a DRS train right now. No DRS disabled side, but possibly more crucially for Stonks, he's outside that DRS window to Connor ahead. So Axe is going to be chomping at the bit to get past him on the next lap.
Yeah, he certainly will. I mean, Axe hasn't used any of his ERS. He's just been saving it the whole time. So he's definitely going to be able to hopefully get past the Aston Martin for his sake. And yeah, again, the rain just sort of staying at the same intensity, looking the exact same on circuit as Placky does elect to pit. So maybe Placky coming in for those intermediates early and trying a different strategy to everyone else. Yes, it is for the intermediates. So as we see, the drivers are actually starting to lose grip a bit here. So maybe the game just not rendering too on the circuit, the actual water on track. But here comes Axe against Stonks as Nick gets another 3-second time penalty. Axe to the inside of turn 6, and now gets it done before the braking zone of turn 7.
Simple move there for the Williams driver, up into P6 now, and he's going to have Stonks attack him for a few laps, I think, but I don't think it's going to be strong enough. But you're looking at, I don't know if Nicky's back in the pit, so I can't really tell. Placky and Red Caterpillar and Bobbitt's, oh no, it's Bobbitt's that's into the pit, sorry. So Placky, the best thing to really look at is Finn versus Placky and see if the time is massively different between the two of them. That's the one we have to watch out for. Cider up into P9, unable to get past Akos still. Axe unable to close the gap to Connor ahead, but Connor seemingly happy now behind M-Racer and not attacking too much. Otis Lawrence has a 5.3 second lead to Smokey, but surely these hards will be, well, they'll want to get off them soon. They'll be wanting to think, you know what, I need to get onto mediums. These tyres could pop.
Yeah, it's certainly a matter of time of either intermediates or the mediums. It's whatever the drivers will go for. But I think we could be right here about the actual weather conditions themselves and them just being too dry for the intermediates to actually work. But Stonks does come into the pit lane, so maybe he's thinking about the mediums, or if not the intermediates. So I'll stay on board with him now, and it seems to be the yellow walled tyres for the Aston Martin, and he did get a bit of wing damage as he's changing the front wing now.
So Aston Martin in, I think behind him Venom's in as well. No front wing change for Venom. He's going to come out in front. No, he's not, just behind. Both on the medium compound tyre. Where's Finn? He's hurtling down the start-finish straight. He's fine. Venom coming down the start-finish straight. He's lost a huge amount of time to Finn in one lap. That's 3.7. Otis has left the session. He's got a 5-second lead to get himself back into the session. So should be all right for him. But let's go on board with Connor as Axe has finally got himself back into the battle for P4. But yeah, Stonks and Venom deciding to take the risk onto mediums.
Yeah, so it does seem to be the right call for now, as Placky's lost about 2 seconds in a lap to Finn up in front, and the rain does not seem to be getting any better. I did invite Otis back to the session, so that's why he's got back in so quickly. Sorry to the likes of Smokey and Wilson thinking they had a chance. But the mediums do seem to be the right call at the moment to box onto. It's all just a matter of time for when this rain does eventually stop, or does it stop, and will the intermediates eventually get quick enough as DRS has been disabled? That is usually the call to come onto the intermediates.
Into the pits, M-Racer, Connor, Axe, Akos. They're all jumping in. Otis, Lawrence then, Smokey and Wilson all went past the pit entrance at this point. Piccolo, I'm not sure which way to disguise that, is deciding to stay out, but everyone else has jumped into the pits. What does Finn do? That's the interesting point. He made the jump early. Does he go in? He stays out. Finn is chancing his arm. It's still on the swap over, and Otis Lawrence has made a mistake.
Oh god, is that coming back from AI, or is it just purely his error there? Because, I mean, he had like a 2-second lead at one point. He's left the session once more. So, as we said, Otis might not win the race and making a mistake. Either that's happened, or it's just his wheels bugged or something. And he's now down in 3rd place in AI mode. And but what I was actually gonna say before I even made that mistake was that the track doesn't even still show. Oh, now it shows the raindrops on the circuit. The timing of that was impeccable, as that is an Aston Martin of FRA Stonks round on the medium. So it's definitely time for the intermediate tyres.
I think there could be contact between him and the Red Bull. That I think that was M-Racer, and that is absolute gutting. I think it's still the mix. I think it's still quite close to being intermediate dry tyres for the time being. Connor can't make any moves on Finn. Into the pits then for a couple of these guys. Smokey and Wilson go in. They're dropping themselves into intermediates. Otis is staying out. I think he's in control of his car. So Otis couldn't get a control of his car, apparently. That's why he dropped massively behind. So he's got a lot of work to do. Let's see if he can stick out in this weather. But where it does, Finn is staying out as well. You know what? I think it's really on the cusp of which tyre is quicker right now.
I feel like it's the intermediates at the moment. I do like to assert myself as a bit of a Jensen Button, where I'm quite good at telling the conditions for the tyres. But I mean, it does seem that the mediums still do have some pace, but I would say that the intermediates are definitely quicker at the moment. Connor just seems to have a lot better traction coming out the corners than Finn does, and because of this track so tight and twisty, maybe that's why we don't get an accurate representation. But yeah, look at Connor's all over the back of Finn, and surely these drivers will come back into the pit lane, and actually Otis will lose quite a bit of time to the likes of Smokey and Wilson, and maybe we'll have to do a Max Verstappen USA-esque comeback drive from about P3 on track.
Scyther is in P12 currently, but Otis Lawrence might not win a race. That's a headline and a half. Here comes Connor around the outside of Finn into turn 14. He thinks better off it, but his traction through 14 could be better as he hurtle now into 15. The outside line is a quicker one into the inside for 16, and surely that Ferrari is in front of the Alfa Romeo, and Finn now in the way. Yellow flag in sector 2 there, or the end of sector 2, which is, I think, Venom into the wall, and he's on soft compound, or the dry compound of tyre. So Finn has got to be going into the pits this lap around. Surely, does he go? He does not. He's staying out. He's made his bed. He's laying in it. Where is Otis Lawrence? He's coming to the end of the pit lane. Is Connor going to beat him out? He's going to be a really, really tight first couple of corners. Where's the Mercedes driver? He's behind Finn. He's behind Axe. Otis Lawrence is down in P7.
Wow, that is a huge turn of events. The intermediates are definitely faster at this point, so I don't get why Finn stayed out. Maybe just trying to maybe brave it out until the dry comes back. But yeah, it's definitely intermediates at the moment. Definitely going to be the tyre to be on. So here comes Axe down the inside of Finn into turn 7. Finn manages to get the braking zone actually and keeps the car on circuit. So a very good move there, defensive move there by Finn. Otis down the inside of Axe into turn 8, and now Axe down the inside of Finn into turn 9. That's allowed Otis to go for the move as well. So Otis getting past Finn as well. So Finn now starting to drop like a stone down the order. Maybe Akos can go for a move up through the Anderson Bridge and into turn 13. So now Otis all over the back of Axe, and this battle starting to heat up a bit due to the fact we now have a Mercedes of Otis in the fray as he now goes down into turn 14, not being able to pull the move off, and Akos going for a switch back on Finn as well, so maybe he will be able to get past the Alfa Romeo now. And yes, that Haas has got the move done, and now Dark Killer enters the fray.
Dark Killer P9, he's doing a good job at the moment. See what he can do. He's will stay on board with Finn, see if he does go into the pit lane or not. Otis Lawrence is actually really close to the back end of Axe as he's coming through this sector. Dark Killer pushing that Alfa Romeo around this track, I think. Does he pit? He does not. The Alfa Romeo stays out, but the AlphaTauri definitely going to get him down the start-finish straight. Surely this time around, Ryan goes up the inside into turn 1. He's still holding station, and there's contact between the two of them. I don't know how much that was a bug on the game, or if there was, because they're still battling through as Finn and Ryan, and I think that's Ryan now through. And we are aware it's going to dry back up at some stage. I just don't know when. That's the problem. Is it going to be dry enough at the end of the race for the likes of Finn and Piccolo to stay out? Look how far Shizuo Piccolo has stayed out. He's still in 3rd place. He's got Connor for company right now as Finn gets passed by Placky. But he's doing something different.
Yeah, he certainly is, and it's actually sort of working for him as Venom has retired in the pit lane, but now Finn is just dropping like a stone here. He's falling right down the order. Cypher now down the inside, and he gets the move done. Piccolo gets passed by Connor, and now the train commences once more behind a slick runner. But yeah, it's definitely intermediates. You can clearly see us. Look at that, Axe being very opportunistic. They're sending it down the inside of Piccolo into turn 14 from miles back. Gets the move done, but doesn't keep a car in between him and Otis. And yeah, Otis staying all over the back of the Williams. And I'm actually surprised he didn't get the move off into turn 7, as here comes Akos down the inside of Piccolo into under the grandstand. And now all this contact into the wall goes Akos there. So maybe a bit of front wing damage for the Haas. He's having a very good race at the moment, is Akos. So yeah, Piccolo falling down the order, so the slicks definitely not working out for these drivers so far.
Connor 9.4 seconds behind Wilson. Smokey now leading this Grand Prix. Well, lap 24 of 31, we've lost Choco, Finn, Bob, Stonks and Venom PSR Nick is sticking it out at the moment, but I think that could be him into the wall at turn 18. M-Racer getting past Shizu Piccolo, who's now being passed by M-Racer as well. So the hard compound, the soft or dry compounded tyres are not working. Dark Killer gets past Akos as an up into P6, and he's right, well, I say right behind, 4 seconds behind championship leader Otis Lawrence. That's not something you hear every day. And yeah, do we see this track dry up, or is it just going to stay these wet tyres?
I mean, it'll be very interesting to see it dry up. I mean, everyone probably does want that. In the spectators' chat at the moment, to see it dry up coming to the end of the race. Someone goes onto the softs, somehow wins the race. So that's probably what some drivers do want. Drivers and spectators alike do want, because they might not feel as comfortable in these conditions. But yeah, the likes of Finn and Piccolo definitely want a safety car as well to really heighten their chance of getting back into the points, as that's actually Akos going down the escape road of turn 14, making a mistake, making sure he kept that out the wall, as Oscu gets past Finn as well. But Akos now down in P14. I think he might have actually got a bit of wing damage in the earlier on incident, as that's actually Axe F1 into the wall, going under the grandstand, I think, or even down the escape road.
He went down the escape road as well, and that's released Otis Lawrence. There's a lot of escape roadism at the moment. Bobbert's picking up a penalty, and that is Otis drifting around turn 23 again tonight. He's struggling with that one a little bit, but he's catching PSR Connor ahead. He's been released, and I tell you what, Wilson and Smokey are probably going to be praying that Connor can hold this man up.
Yeah, they certainly will be, as Finn and Piccolo trading positions on the dry tyres in the wet conditions, as actually Rev Caterpillar all over the back of them so far. Akos retires in the pit lane. I do think he actually got a bit of front wing damage from him hitting the wall due to Piccolo round the outside. I don't think there was anyone to blame for that, just a racing incident. But yeah, Rev Caterpillar passing Finn as well now, but Otis Lawrence creeping up behind PSR Connor, and we could maybe see a scrap between these two, but we'll have to gain 9 seconds in about 6 or so laps. It's going to be very difficult for Otis to do, but it's Otis Lawrence at the end of the day. Can he do it?
Time will tell for certain. M-Racer right behind Placky at this moment in time, trying to make a move. So it's a Red Bull versus Mercedes, not the Mercedes and Red Bull we were expecting to be fighting on track at this moment in time. Otis Lawrence is going to be absolutely fuming, but if he can keep get another podium, I'm sure he will be relatively happy with that. But he's 1.1 seconds behind Connor. Dark Killer is losing ground, but he's keeping ahead of Placky. He's keeping that gap there quite nice at the moment. But Placky unable to pull away from these guys behind, and having M-Racer, Scyther and Axe behind you might not be the best thing he wants to see in his mirrors.
No, it'll probably be quite a scary sight, especially with Cypher behind. He's not really had as good as a race as I thought he would at the moment down in PA, but I mean, he's still in the points. He can still get a top 6 finish at the moment, but yeah, he's not really gone up the order as much as I thought he would. But yeah, so now as Blackie sort of being harassed here by M-Race, so he's found a bit of pace at the moment onto these intermediate tyres. He's going to go for a move down the inside into turn 7. Will he be able to get the move done? There's a bit of contact between the two. He lets Blackie keep the position, and he does go for it round the outside, maybe trying for the switch back into the corner, but cannot pull it off. Cypher all over the back of him, as this is actually allowing Axe F1 to gain a few tenths of a second on him, as Oscu goes straight on, and I think into the wall there, and yeah, he's lost his front wing through turn 8.
Rev Caterpillar in all this is in the points. He's P10 at this moment in time. He's passed his teammate VSR Finn. I'm sure there's going to be a fair few happy faces in the chat with that one. Otis Lawrence then very close to the back end of Connor. I'm going to have to get off the battle for P6 and look at the battle for P3, because right now Otis Lawrence into the grandstand section, into 18, 19, and let's see how he can handle it at the moment. Dark Killer not, well, losing ground to this battle. Hand over foot now. He was able to keep it at the moment, but is it dry? Is it dry? I think it is, because here's the DRS enabled side. Otis Lawrence stayed out. Wilson comes in. Connor comes in. Smokey stays out. Who else comes in? There's a gaggle of cars coming in on lap 27 of 31. It's dry tyres time.
This spices things up. I swear only a few minutes ago it was a wet race. It's now onto the dries, and I mean, the difference between softs and the intermediates is huge on this game, so we could maybe see Connor maybe even get ahead of Smokey, and same with Wilson. Wilson's definitely within a good shout of getting past Smokey at the moment, as they surely will come in at the end of this lap, and XF1 and Cypher, it's going to be poor from them, because that double stack will really hurt both their chances, as where does Dark Killer come out? He's come out in P10 at the moment. Connor in P8, as he's actually battling with Bobbitt's right now, is Dark Killer as he heads down into turn 7. But Dark Killer, could there be a small shout of a podium for the AlphaTauri? But I do think they're just a bit too far ahead for him to really get ahead of the top 2 at the moment.
Yeah, it's a very interesting one to see what will happen with him. Finn is all over the back of Rev Caterpillar. And wow, Piccolo has yet to pit. Here comes Finn up the inside of his teammate. Does his teammate fight it? He does not. Yeah, it's very much dry weather tyres right now. And Connor trying to get back into this. Finn stayed out. And actually, it might have worked a little bit for him right now. He's only 4.3 seconds behind Wilson. Into the pits goes Smokey. Otis Lawrence has stayed out. Lap 28, and he stayed out. Is this a mistake? Is this Monza all over again?
It could certainly be, as Wilson, does he get Smokey? Yes, he does. So Wilson up into P4 and ahead of one of his main contenders, Smokey, here. And these two just, the one thing they do not want to do is battle. They do not want to battle. Just stick to your positions until you know you can get Otis. That is the only thing you can do in this race at the moment, is just really just stick behind each other as Connor gets past Finn. So Connor up into P6. And yeah, so all these drivers staying out will really hinder Wilson at the moment, the likes of Axe and Cypher, but it's going to be super close. It's about a 12-13 second gap between Wilson and Otis, but the gap, the speed the softs have compared to the intermediates will be massive as he goes down the inside of Axe into the hairpin, gets it done nicely, and that's one less car he has to worry about. And he probably will get Cypher going down into turn 14, and which he does down the inside, gets past both Williams cars in the space of 2 corners. And now the race really begins. It'll be lap 29 really where we first see the impressions, but we're seeing it now. He's gained about 4 attempts in about a complex of corners. So it's absolutely going to be a huge battle to see who will come out on top in this one. And yeah, it's going to be super close all the way to the very end.
Wow, 11 seconds. This is going to be interesting. Connor trying to get himself into the swing of things as well. Up the inside of Cider goes Smokey. That was relatively easy for him. He's got a little bit of time to catch to Wilson. 3 laps remaining for Otis Lawrence to keep, well, that 11-second gap. And I think, memory serves me right, from certain tracks is about 7 to 10 seconds slower on intermediates a lap. Otis has his work cut out. He's 10.6 seconds already is the gap. And you know what? I'm really, really surprised at how this one's going to go.
It can go either way at the moment. Otis could somehow get a miracle here, but he's gained about 4 seconds in not even a lap at the moment. So, I mean, through that one complex of corners, he lost about 2-3 seconds. So, at this rate, Wilson will catch up to the back of Otis Lawrence, and Otis's chances of maybe even a podium could go away here, as it's already 8.6 seconds into turn 14. It's been about a lap, and he's gained about 5 seconds on Otis Lawrence, but he did have to battle a few cars. So this gap is coming down quicker and quicker. It'll be 2 laps to go. And they've gained about 6 seconds in the lap. Surely Wilson will be able to get Otis here.
This is going to be crazy. Caterpillar getting passed by Placky, and I think it could be points out the window for the Alfa Romeo driver on his race here. Smokey, the fastest man on the track. It's 6 seconds. I think this is it. I think this lap we're going to see Otis Lawrence caught by Wilson and probably Smokey as well. And will he be able to hold on to the podium at the end? Wow, this is going to be incredible close to the end of the Grand Prix. Forgetting about everyone else right now, I'm going to look on board with Wilson, who actually Smokey is quicker than right now. Smokey is catching Wilson. And like you mentioned, these two need to not fight or otherwise it could cost them massively.
Yeah, I mean, if I was Smokey, I'll just sort of sit behind Wilson for now until we are definitely on the back of Otis, because that's one thing you don't want to do is go for the move, lose time, Otis wins the Grand Prix. And I reckon this could actually come down to the final lap here, and it's going to be a really costly final lap for Otis Lawrence. I reckon he will be able to hold on ahead of Connor, but it's 3.8 now. It was, at this time last lap, 8 seconds, so it's gained about 5 seconds a lap in just a space between turn 14 and turn 14. So as the gap ever closing, yeah, it's surely gonna be WR Wilson to get the position from Otis Lawrence, and Otis's race just sort of falling down the order a bit, and it's gone from bad to worse. Another mistake on the tyre choice, costing him a race win.
2.1 seconds. Wilson has to defend from Smokey as well. 2 seconds now, the gap between Wilson and Lawrence. It's coming down. Is it going to be enough time for Otis Lawrence? He's got one of the slowest parts of the tracks to come through. It's 1.4. This surely is time for the 2 cars behind him to make Otis Lawrence pay for his mistake. But I think after Otis Lawrence's... Oh, hello. We've got a disqualification for Piccolo. That's interesting. But because of Otis Lawrence's disconnect problem, that is going to... Well, I think he might have finished outside the podium. But at the moment, it's very, very close. But it's not going to be enough. Look at the amount of curbs Otis is having to use in comparison to make sure he hits the apex. Surely Wilson's going to dive up the inside of the hairpin. He tries to go around the outside. Otis is holding the inside. Where does Smokey come in all this? The DRS is going to be enabled. Are we going to see Wilson get the position as well? Into Smokey. Smokey has to defend, has to drop out of the attack. Wilson's got the lead. Wilson's going to win this race.
Yes, he is, as here is Smokey all over the back of Otis. It's going to be all the way down to the line, I reckon, here, unless Smokey sends it into here under the grandstand. And now it's definitely going to have to be a final corner move for Smokey if he wants any chance of getting P2 in this Grand Prix. He's all over the back of Otis Lawrence. Will he be able to pull the move off? I don't actually think he might. He's gone down the inside, but Otis gets P2. So Otis surely could have lost the race. P3 to P2 there, sorry. Gets the position and ahead of Smokey. So Smokey probably backing out of that move cost him there. He should have just sent it and saw what happened. But no, being too conservative cost him P2 on the circuit.
Wow, what an end to this Grand Prix. Otis doesn't win. Wilson, this is mental race. Mental race. We only had 12 finishes in the end. Singapore has made absolute incredible scenes here tonight. Smokey unable to get past the intermediate runner of Otis at the end there, and to be honest, those inters are probably going to look more like slicks right now with the way he drove on the end. But let's go down the order in a moment. And well, what a race for Otis Lawrence. Actually, before we do, the game's given driver of the day to Cider. But for yourself, Steve, who do you give driver of the day to?
Oh, it's gonna be difficult. I'm gonna actually go for. Oh, it's a hard one to call at the moment, but I'm gonna go for PSR Connor. He's had a very good race today. P4 from P8 on the grid. Yeah, he showed some good moves there. And yeah, I'm gonna go for Connor. Very good race there from the Ferrari.
Okie doke. I don't know what sort of screen that was, but it wasn't the podium screen, I can tell you that much. But yeah, winner for the race is Wilson. What a race. What an end to the Singapore Grand Prix. We didn't know what to expect. Finn took the gamble, and it seemed like an interesting one in the end for him. But yeah, let's go down the order. It's Wilson who took victory in the end. Smokey with the fastest lap of the race in third place, and Otis Lawrence sticking on the inters to come home in second place. PSR Connor in fourth, fifth place to Cider. Finn in sixth, seventh to Dark Killer on his return to WR Tier 1 Xbox, and I'm sure he'll be happy with that one, the legend that he is. FRA Placky in eighth, ninth is Axe, and M-Racer rounding out the points scoring position with Rev Caterpillar so close to points in 11th, Bobbits in 12th rounding out the finishers. Oskew, Nick, Akos, Venom, Stokes, Finn, Bob, Choco, Piccolo all did not finish. Piccolo actually ended up being disqualified, and that was something that I was not expecting, to be perfectly honest.
No, I mean he didn't actually box for new tyres at all. So yeah, that's why he got disqualified. Maybe just a bit of a mix-up with the rules there. And yeah, I mean, what a race that was. The ending was absolutely amazing. We didn't know who was going to win that at the end there. But yeah, I mean, Piccolo maybe making a mistake with the strategy, mix up the rules. Wilson winning the race. Otis not winning a Grand Prix for once. And wow, what a race that was. And Dark Killer getting points on his return. Probably very happy with that. And he actually showed some good pace and some good overtakes today.
Yeah, Dark Killer would be very happy with that one. But wow, what a race in general. I'm just looking through it all. I mean, wow. I mean, where do you start? There was so much going on that we didn't have many overtakes to start off with. Everyone seemed to want to go for the hard compound. We had that safety car early doors. And then things seemed to happen a little bit. You know, M-Racer didn't have any sort of pace at all.
No, he just sort of dropped off a bit before the wet intermediates come out. And then when the intermediates come out again, he actually did have some pace, and then he dropped off again. He just didn't really have the pace for the drives at that moment in time, and just it sort of cost him there, because before the safety car, maybe that threw him out of his rhythm.
Yeah, it was wow. No comment, but I mean, we touched on it obviously with those. Ooh, I just knocked a shitload of crap over down there, but ignore that. Hopefully, it didn't get heard on the stream. But the Otis Lawrence thing with the disconnects, the double disconnect, first one, you know, when he came back in, he couldn't get back into, he couldn't take control of the car. Yeah, that's interesting. You know, couldn't take control of the car, and then he's lost positions, and then he comes out massively behind, back in P7.
Yeah, I mean, it was just not meant to be for Otis. Really, he just, I mean, the disconnect was very unfortunate. He probably would have won it if he didn't disconnect. But yeah, I mean, he still was very brave to stick out on those intermediates and actually still end up only 2 seconds behind Wilson in the end. I reckon. I mean, if he defended the inside into the hairpin, he might have had a bit more of a chance of winning the Grand Prix, but I can't really fault him on that. He had a brilliant drive from him to go down to P7, stay out on the intermediates, manage to finish the race in second, and yeah, under all that pressure, very good result from him, and he'll probably still be sort of happy of that. Maybe a bit disappointed over the disconnect though.
Now, obviously, usually, your place in the comms box is down to Ryan, and he was racing tonight. And he managed to get points. You know, we've spoken about it briefly, but it was nice to see his return to WR Tier 1 and get points.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very grateful to commentate over Ryan's return. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, to go from the com box in Tier 1 in Xbox to go straight back to it from your first time in about for the first time this game actually. So, I mean, actually a very fantastic drive from him today to still keep his pace on Xbox. I know they're not too different, but still there is a bit of difference in physics and handling on the PC side. So yeah, actually a very decent race from Darkkiller, and hopefully one more time in the future he does come back and do another one off. You never know.
Maybe so. Let's get our second place. Oh, I tried to get our second place man into the lobby, but it just didn't seem to happen on that occasion. But let's get the championship leader in here, because I think it's only fair we get to speak to him. Hopefully he will get himself sorted as we go to post races. I am waiting, but there we go. Hopefully it'll work this time. He is in here. And Steve, I'll hand over to you on this bit.
Okay, so Otis, well done P2 today. You're probably a bit disappointed on the disconnect though. So what actually happened there with the disconnection mid-race?
I didn't disconnect actually. I had to leave the game because I asked Jeff on the radio for something, and completely glitched the MFD. So yeah, I had to leave twice, and when I rejoined, it didn't let me control the car, so I had to leave again. So very unfortunate, but I'm happy with the P2 and the strategy call. So yeah, I'm happy.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. I mean, the game just keeps getting better, it seems, with the amount of glitches in it. So yeah, unfortunate for you there. And yeah, the strategy, was that your main thing to do once you realised that you were sort of lower down the order after the issues you had, and was the main strategy just stick out on the Inter, see how far they go until the end of the race?
Sorry, could you repeat that? I didn't hear. Sorry.
Oh, basically, was the strategy after the issues you had just stay out on the intermediates to the end of the race? Was that the main thing you were thinking of?
Yeah. I was getting told to box, but I knew there wasn't many laps left, so I just decided to gamble it, and it worked. So yeah, Hart was in the front of the last lap, I'll tell you that. So yeah, I'm glad to bring it on.
Yeah, I mean, well done on the P2. Brilliant battle with Smokey at the end there. So yeah, WOR, did you have any questions for Otis today?
No, I think I speak to him quite often these days. But a fantastic drive again, especially with the circumstances considered. And yeah, good luck for the remainder of the season. And not that you need it, but and also the Legacy division.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
We are going to get the man who raced one race in WR Tier 1 this season. I doubt he will race any more times, but let's have a chat with him nonetheless. He'll be, back to his comms box next week. But Ryan is here, so Steve, I'll let you ask a few question or two.
Okay, I mean, Ryan, well done today. I mean, good return. Are you happy with what happened today with your performance?
Yeah, absolutely. I was absolutely fantastic, to be fair. Going basically a lap down off the start after contact into turn 2 or 3. I was putting a sandwich, killed Finn, and then I got wing damage from that, and I was like, right, I'm not giving up. I know there's going to be a safety car at some point, and yeah, called it a comeback, and I was up to I was basically on for points, and then I died again, and then I came back a few times, but yeah, I was on for P5 if everybody decided to pit and not try and hold it on, so I was a bit disappointed in that end, but P7, after everything that happened, I'm very, very happy about, and Gareth, you'll be happy to know I will be back in the comms box next week, don't you worry.
Okie doke.
Yeah, brilliant drive from you today, Ryan. I mean, fair enough, you come back to Xbox and stick it into the points. So did it feel any different to how the PC feels, or was it sort of similar?
Oh yeah, it feels a lot. It feels a bit different, to be honest. It wasn't really. It's a lot easier to get up to speed, I felt, as well compared to PC. But yeah, it was still fun. The racing was fun. Everyone getting their elbows out. Loved to see it. It felt like everybody got a bit more aggressive when I was around, which was a bit scary. But obviously, You know, that's life. Got blocked a few times in qualifying, which wasn't very nice. But hey, could have been a bit higher. Could have had an even better result. You never know. But maybe that's for next time, if there is a next time, if I'm ever back when there's a race here in WR. But very, very happy with how it all went out today.
Yeah, it's a good result from you. You got your elbows out and everything went well for you. So, well done. Good race today from you on your return. And yeah, Warder, any questions for Ryan today?
I mean, was it always, after getting that damage, was it always an option for you to go back onto the hards from medium to straight back to the hards? Is that what you were always gonna plan on doing?
Nope. No, the game decided not to change my front wing, so I had to pit again, and that's when I was sitting a lap down. So the game tried to basically end my career nice and early, but I think it was sort of a blessing in disguise, to be fair, because otherwise I would have had to pit probably again for the hards anyway, but which could have worked out actually, looking back. Could have actually stayed out on those hards maybe and took a bit of a gamble, but maybe staying out of an inters would have been the better choice, but that's another question for another time, when I look back on that race maybe and see the things I could have done better. But yeah, it was a fun race to return to, and Singapore I don't think it was good for you guys to probably commentate over as well. There's a lot of action up and down the grid.
Definitely was. There definitely was. And one last for me, when you saw Finn and Piccolo stay out on the dries when it was intermediates, what was your thought process there? Did you think that they made an absolute amazing strategy call, or were you thinking, what the hell are you guys playing at?
Yeah, I was thinking, what the hell are you guys playing at? But I knew they had nothing to lose, and obviously judging by the weather forecast as well from the game and how it always plays around, I thought again it probably wasn't a bad decision, as we had to make so much more time as well to them to pull away. It wasn't surprising that they did stay out in the end, but it's a bit annoying because I caught Finn anyway on the last lap and then couldn't get past Axe, so I accidentally, broke at a point where I thought he would have broke, but he broke even earlier, and then I, killed him, unfortunately, and he dropped behind Flacky, but he didn't lose too many places, so it was okay, and all was forgiven. But if there was another lap, I feel like I could have got P5, but hey-oh, it's racing, these things happen in league racing,
Well, fantastic. Well, congratulations on your return. I know it didn't go as planned a bit originally, but you fought your way through the field, so congratulations on that one.
Thank you, Gareth.
Right then, Steve, over to you for final words, my friend, from this Singapore Grand Prix.
Amazing. Probably an absolutely cracking race to commentate over, especially coming to the end. Yeah, definitely one for the highlights of the season, and it's definitely going to be in the memory for quite a few seasons, I reckon, for some of these drivers, especially the likes of Wilson and Otis, to know the drives that they did today. But yeah, I mean, brilliant race today, and yeah, probably one of the best I've seen from Tier 1 that I've commentated on this season.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal race, and I tell you what, that is it's been the second time this season when the wet has come and, well, affected the outcome of the race, and it's interesting to see each people's perspective on it, because it's now twice Otis has it's not gone fully his way. Okay, the gods were against him on this one with the MFD, but you've got to fight through everything. He did his best. Finishing P2 in the situation is a very, very good job nonetheless. But thank you very much for watching from myself and Steve and Ryan in the background. We have really enjoyed this one, that is for certain. And catch us next week for the next race, for the next instalment of WOR Tier 1. I'm sure you are going to enjoy it as much as we have.